Good afternoon, good afternoon, VDMA members, industry colleagues in India and around the world. Dear participants, a hearty welcome to all of you for today's interactive webinar on advancements in industrial and bulk materials packaging in woven sacks. It is our pleasure to welcome our guest speakers today, Mr. Pankaj Shah, Chairman, Indian Plastics Institute, Mr. Rakesh Shah, Chairman, Delhi Chapter, Indian Plastic Institutes, Mr. Walter Eder, Managing Director, Woven Machinery at Windmoeller Hoelscher, Germany, Mr. Jan-Peter Baumer, Managing Partner at BMB Verpackungstechnik, GmbH, Germany, and also Mr. Anuj Shah, General Manager, Sales and Marketing, Windmoeller Hoelscher, India. Also, a very warm welcome to our own Mr. Rajesh Nath, Managing Director, VDMA India. This webinar is organized by VDMA in partnership with BNB and our partners, Windmoeller Hoelscher. We hope all of you and your families and working teams are keeping safe and doing well. I am Manohar, based out of VDMA Bangalore office, and would be moderating the session today. A brief introduction about VDMA across. VDMA is the largest association in Europe with more than 3,348 members, which cumulatively employ more than 1.3 million people and a production of around 230 billion euros. Interestingly, 78% of that, or close to 80%, is exported out of Germany. We are a 129-year-old institution. Entire activities of VDMA is categorized into 38 specialized sectors. We have offices in Brussels for Belgium, for the European Union, and in other countries of the at India, which was the earliest venture to commence, China, Brazil, Russia, and Japan. The topics for the discussion today, interesting friends, we have the welcome address by Mr. Rajesh Nath, Managing Director, VDMA India. Session introduction by Mr. Rakesh Shah and Mr. Pankaj Shah across from the Indian Plastics Institute. Opportunities for, and then the presentations from Mr. Walter Eder, opportunities in industrial packaging, block bottom bags, and then the next presentation, next generation innovation in bulk material packaging by Mr. Baumer from BNB. And finally, the concluding questions, question and answers and concluding remarks. Dear friends, before we continue, I'd like to remind you that you can put all your questions in the question bank, which is there across, and all the questions will be answered at will be asked to the panelists in the end across. Without any ado, let me welcome Mr. Rajesh Nath for his welcome address. Mr. Nath has been strongly promoting Indo-German relations and has been the face of VDMA for almost 2 decades. He has close to 3 decades of experience working in various industries in India and Germany. The most significant achievement of his has been that he was accorded the highest civilian order award from the German president, which is a cross of the Order of Merit, for promoting Indo-German trade between India and Germany. Dear friends, let us welcome Mr. Rajesh Nath. Over to you, Rajesh.
Right. Thank you, Manohar. Good afternoon, members of VDMA, members of the Indian Plastic Institute, and friends from the industry. The German Engineering Federation, VDMA, in association with Windmoeller Hoelscher, BNB Verpackungstechnik GmbH, and Indian Plastic Institute, welcomes you to this web seminar on advancements in industrial bulk material packaging in woven sacks. I extend a hearty welcome to our speakers today, Mr. Rakesh Shah, Chairman IPI. Hopefully, Mr. Pankaj Shah, Chairman IPI. Hopefully, Mr. Pankaj Shah would be joining us shortly. Then Mr. Rakesh Shah, Chairman, Delhi Chapter, Indian Plastic Institute. Incidentally, Rakesh is also an old friend and a well-known veteran of the industry. Then we are proud also to welcome Mr. Walter Eder, Managing Director, Woven Machinery at Windmoeller Hoelscher, Mr. Jan-Peter Baumer, Managing Partner at BNB Verpackungstechnik, and Mr. Anuj Sani, GM, General Manager, Sales and Marketing at Windmoeller Hoelscher. Since the year 2021 too has been riddled with unprecedented challenges and unexpected opportunities. The second wave hit us with unimaginable severity, impacting lives and livelihoods again. However, unlike 2020, the lockdowns were regionalized and not on a national scale. The ongoing pandemic has in fact altered our lives and workings in many ways and made us realize the value of things we had earlier perhaps taken for granted. Industrial output in India increased 11.5% year-on-year in July of 2021, lower than the 13.6% in the previous month, but above the market forecast of 10.7%. It is the fifth month of double-digit growth due to the low base effects from last year as the economy recovers from the COVID hit. In July, manufacturing output advanced 10.5%, led largely by electrical equipments and motor vehicles, trailers and semi-trailers. Also, output rose for mining by 19.5% and electricity by 11.1%. The Indian economy expanded to a record 20.1% year-on-year growth in Q2 of 2021, slightly higher than the market forecast of 20%. And all this was, friends, despite the second wave which hit us. Now, on the consumption side, private expenditure increased 19.3%. Investment, in fact, increased by 55.3%. Exports 39.1%, and imports by a whooping 60.2%. The public expenditure dropped slightly by 4.8%. India began administration of the COVID vaccine on 16th January 2021. As of 22nd September 2021, India has administered over 830 million doses overall, including first and second doses of the currently approved vaccines, include a record number of 22.6 million doses on a single day. The aim is to vaccinate the adult population by the year end. Friends, in 1991, India showed foresight and courage in changing both the direction and determinants of its economy. The results are for all to see. India's GDP of US $266 billion in 1991 has grown by over 10 times. Our economy has in the meantime become the fifth largest in the world. India transformed from an economy of scarcity in 1991 to an economy of sufficiency in 2021. Now India has to transform itself into an economy of sustainable abundance and equitable prosperity by 2051. This is the age of technological disruption and acceleration. The world will witness more changes over the next 30 years than it has seen perhaps in the previous 300 years. After losing out in the first two industrial revolutions and catching up on the third, India now has an opportunity to lead the fourth industrial revolution. By deploying right technologies with agility, we can achieve the quantum increase in productivity and efficiency. Friends, let me end with a quote by Matt Mullenweg, who developed the free and open source web software WordPress. He said, "Technology is best when it brings people together." And friends, that is what we have together today. Windmoeller and Hoelscher, along with BNB Verpackungstechnik and VDMA and IPI, bringing the industry together. Wishing all the participants an informative and insightful web seminar today. And thank you for joining us in such large number. And I would also again like to thank our partners, Windmoeller and Hoelscher, BNB Verpackung, Indian Plastic Institute. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rajesh, for welcoming all the participants and for the interesting insights on the economic growth, both the lockdown and the COVID across. I'm sure India would now catapult into the future in the coming years. It's now my privilege to welcome Mr. Rakesh Shah. Mr. Rakesh Shah, Chairman, Indian Plastic Institute from the Delhi chapter. Welcome, Mr. Rakesh Shah, for your address across on the session and the topics and the future topics by the presenters. Mr. Shah?
Rakesh, you are muted. If you could just unmute yourself.
Muted, yeah.
Okay, namaste everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all from wherever they are and what time they are experiencing now. Thank you very much, Mr. Manohar. Well, I think this webinar, I would like to welcome you to this webinar because it's a momentous one. And I think of this kind, the very first in India and at that scale. And I'm very happy that this is being organized by VDMA, Windmoeller Hoelscher, BNB, and IPI together. The topic of this seminar is a very important one, and that is advancement in industrial and bulk materials packaging in woven sacks. Mr. Manohar already introduced the main speakers, and they are all luminaries in their own fields. Mr. Walter Heder is the managing director of the woven machinery at Windmoeller Hoelscher. Mr. Boehmer is the managing partner at BNB, and BNB is a very inventive company, and just as Windmoeller is, and they are world renowned for their very specialized machinery and very customized machinery. Mr. Amit Sahni is general manager, and he has actually kicked off the rock bottom bag business in India to very great heights. So I must congratulate him also on this occasion. This webinar, I think, will be a very educative one because all these people are going to share the information which I think all of the people who are in this business are quite much waiting for and would like to hear. But before we go on to the seminar, I would like to briefly tell you about the development of this woven sack or woven, let's say flat woven machinery and the packaging in this country. When we started this business, actually I happen to be, or I'm very proud to say that I've been a part of this industry for the last 40 years. And in these last 40 years, I have played, I think, key role in the beginning in establishing the circular woven machinery and technology in this country and for the expansion of this market. And I was at that time working with Loeys-Starlinger. And Loeys-Starlinger was at that time the pioneering company in this business, in the machinery side. And their partners, Windmoeller Hoelscher and Starlinger of Austria, they were working together on this. At that time, this was something very new because India was using flat looms and dobby looms. And even these looms are very primitive in the sense that they were treadle type of looms and very few motorized looms were being used in India at that time. The pioneering user of circular weaving technology was Bajaj Plastics, which was headed by Mr. H.G. Bajaj, who was popularly known in the industry as Babuji. Babuji was really the pioneer of circular weaving technology in this country, and he started with Sanfei looms, which were originally built for jute and were used in Dundee, but eventually adapted to flat woven circular fabric. This came about because Ansett Victor Marie Joseph got a patent in 1945 for the concept of a circular loom, which was using two beams and movable reeds. Eventually, Henry Pelsey, he patented the shuttle mechanism for the circular looms. In 1988, Mr. Windmoeller and Lenzing, both companies also patented the new system for shuttles and the reed rings, or let's say the shuttle races. So this is how the circular loom technology came about and went up. And in the meantime, in 1981, when Lohia started manufacturing of circular looms in this country, and these started replacing the flat looms. The tape lines were coming from Windmoeller Hoelscher, which was arguably the best equipment available at the time, even though at that time Barmag and Lansing were also supplying those machines, and they were major competitors, but they were both very good companies, no doubt. But finally, it was Windmoeller and Hoelscher that conquered the market here. And those companies are, especially Barmag, has withdrawn from that business. At that time, besides the looms from Sterlinger and Lohia Sterlinger, the main competitors were essentially from Taiwan, a company called Phyllis, and Hajihara from Japan. Again, because of superior technologies and because of, I would say that latest devices on the machines which were patented by the European companies, and the outstanding tape performance on the tape stretching lines, we called Tyrex at that time. These machines helped very much to establish the European technology in India and eventually conquered the market, and the Taiwanese and Japanese machines were driven out of the market. Meanwhile, an event happened in 1988. Government of India made it mandatory that all cement and grains and everything should be packaged in jute. This was to support a very large number of jute workers and who were in India and who were very poor. But however, after that some litigation ensued, and eventually government relented, and some amount of packaging was allowed in cement, whereas for the grains, even as late as 2019 and 2020, Government of India has reversed back to 100% packaging in jute, because there are something like 370,000 workers in that industry, and it's a very, very poor area. However, because we can never turn the clock of time back, the technologies were moving forward and were being adopted in India, and therefore cement increasingly went into woven sacks. At that time, in the beginning, HDPE bags were being made and on local lines were being used, and the stretching was not good. The problem with HDPE was that when you filled hot cement, which is normally what is done, the hot process used, the HDPE bags would extend and lose their strength. So when polypropylene came in, as a matter of fact, LLDPE was also tried for some time, but it did not work. So polypropylene was finally, it took the place for entire raffia industry. And I think polypropylene bags, or let's say woven sack industry, is the largest consumer of polypropylene made in India, which is a very big thing. And this is also very important from the viewpoint of the manufacturers of the polymers. Jute packaging and sugar is even now 20% reserved for packaging in jute. Cement production now stands at 262 million tons, and a growth of 10 to 12% is expected in the coming years per annum. Sugar production now stands at 31 million tons. Obviously the growth rates are very small, but it is also growing. Rice production now stands at 120 million tons. Interestingly, $7 billion worth of rice is retailed in small packages in the formal retail, and which is not for the grains such as wheat and other grains or pulses. So now this has opened a very big market, especially for I think for pinch bottom bags, which will also be discussed today. And block bottom bags became the bag of choice for the cement market because of its very unique properties. It has good strength, good stackability. It has excellent temper resistance, or let's say temper evidence. It is not, because there was a lot of, I would say, plenty of contamination, or let's say mixing was being done. and people were doing a lot of unscrupulous practices with woven sacks, and therefore industry is finding this a big relief. So as a matter of fact, it has already taken over more than 5 or 6% market. Anuj would correct me if that's wrong. It could be even more, I think. And now gradually in India, B&B has also found a very good foothold, and they have these very unique machines for pinch bottom bags, and they are practically, for all practical purposes, because of their technology and quality, are in a very commanding position. I would even say that they are as good as a monopoly in that business. As a matter of fact, I have great regard for that industry, that company also. And as far back as 2012, 2013, the joint president of UFlex, Mr. Pillai, had told me, he had suggested to me that WN should work with B&B. And I think this is finally been recognized by both companies as well. So with this introduction, I would like to now just take 2 or 3 minutes more to introduce IPI. IPI, or Indian Plastics Institute, is the largest industry body with approximately 3,000 members and 14 chapters across the country. This is an organization which is not for profit, and it is also associated with Plast India. It is one of the founder members of Plast India organization. It is a body of academicians, economists, and students, and it is running also a lot of educational programs and provides skilled and educated workers to the plastic industry. So with this, I would like to close my address, and I would request Mr. Manohar to please take over. You are muted, Mr. Manohar.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. 𝐕𝐃𝐌𝐀, for sharing with us your 4 decades of experience of woven bags and also introducing the Windmoeller and B&B, Windmoeller Hoelscher and B&B across. So now it's my privilege to invite Mr. Walter Eder, Managing Director, Woven Machinery at Windmoeller and Hoelscher, for his address on opportunities in industrial packaging, block bottom bags. Welcome to you, Mr. Eder. Over to you. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Manohar. Thank you, Mr. Shah, and also thank you, Mr. Nath, for organizing this very interesting webinar, and also for the very kind introduction to my speech. Mr. Manohar will help me with the slides, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak in this webinar with such great response. Please allow me to welcome everybody and wish you 2 hours with many valuable takeaways. I was asked to speak about opportunities in industrial packaging, and I will do so concentrating on the success story of block bottom bags in general and on the development in India in specific. Please allow me a short look at Windmoeller & Hoelscher at a glance. Windmoeller & Hoelscher is a family company and in business since over 150 years. Windmoeller & Hoelscher is a machine manufacturer which specializes in the flexible packaging market. And key traits are extrusion, printing, and converting. We see a global growth, and turnover will exceed 900 million euro, which is a fantastic number. We have over 3,000 employees, and 90% of our production goes into exports. Next, please. Today we talk about block bottom bags. A block bottom bag is made from a coated tube of woven fabric just by hot air. We don't need sewing, we don't need glue. I will focus later on the production process more in depth, but what you see here is the key. We produce in one step with hot air a bag which has fantastic properties. Next, please. Mr. Rakesh already pointed out some of the opportunities of block bottom bags. Historically, stitched bags did play and do play a large role in the Indian industry. The block bottom bags are able to offer additional properties, additional advantages, which make them the bag of choice for more and more users. It's environmentally friendly, it is pilfer resistant, tamper resistant. We can apply an effective micro perforation, on which I will highlight a little later. This allows air to escape out of the bag when we fill it later on. It is not so easy to counterfeit. It is not easy to mix it with other bags. It is easy to handle and to stack because it has a brick shape. And as I already pointed out, we just use hot air to produce it. It means it is adhesive free. Next, please. The applications, already Rakesh Shah pointed out some of the industries. You see here what is possible to be packed: flour, salt, pet food, calcium carbonate, cement, which is taking the majority of use of woven bags, but also we pack fertilizers, sugar, or other chemical products in these bags. So the applications are manifold, with the majority of the bags going into the cement industry. Rakesh pointed out that there's a strong growth in India in cement, and that is one of the key drivers to the phenomenal growth of block bottom bags in the Indian market. Next, please. The historically stitched sewn bags were used for cement, and still the majority of the bags which you see in the Indian market is stitched sewn bags. They usually come at a weight of 70 grams. The block bottom bags which are produced in India today usually have a weight of 80 grams, slightly over 80 grams. You will see that lighter bags are possible. 80 grams is the industrial standard at the moment, which is very successful. Then first, if you compare the cost of each bag to the cement company, the block bottom bag comes at around 12 rupees, while the stitched bag comes at 8 rupees. But then the advantages of the block bottom bag start to weigh in. The stitched bag shows a transit loss of roughly 250 grams. That is an industry expert average, which was quoted to us when we asked that question. There is no loss, basically no loss to a block bottom bag, but a stitched bag loses 250 grams in average, which is 1.5 rupees, which has to be overfilled in a sewn bag. Then again, the quality of the block bottom bag is much better, and therefore lumps and quality deterioration does not happen in the block bottom bag, while it does happen in a stitched bag. And if you count 2.5% loss to lumps and quality deterioration, you have to add another 7.5 rupees in additional cement to overcome that disadvantage. When it comes to handling, the sewn bag is easier to handle for the logistic operators, and therefore handling charges are slightly higher for the block bottom bags. And then again, there is a resale value to empty bags. Stitch bags there have a slightly better gain than block bottom bags. But all in all, if you add up all those effects, the effective cost per bag is 12 rupees for block bottom versus 15 for the stitched sewn bags. This is certainly giving much of the drive to the growth of block bottom in India. Next, please. The cement companies do benefit greatly from this new SAC. There's no loss of product while handling. We see a full benefit to end customers in terms of cost and product. There's a strong brand image. It is easy to print on the bags. You can see logos, you can see branding, which wasn't possible with Thun bags, becomes now possible with block bottom bags. And the consumer feels a pull toward appealing and better packaging, and will prefer the nice packaging over the simple Thun bag. That allows the cement companies to fetch a better price and also meet international standards of packaging if it comes to export. Next, please. This is a sample picture which shows our Convertex CL140. Here you see, for those who have not been in touch with such a machine before, in the forefront you see an unwinding stand for a woven PP tube. This tube is unwound and then goes into a perforation station. This perforation station provides the holes that are needed for the cement, for the air to escape when cement is loaded into a bag later on in the cement company. Then next you see a cutting unit which cuts off a piece of the tube, which is then further down after the sack makes a right turn into the rest of the machine. And in this rest of the machine, there is a valve added, there is a bottom and a top patch added. All those are attached to the cut-off tube by application of hot air. And in the end, you get a completely ready to use, ready to sell bag. A bag with very good bag tolerances at very high production and consistent quality. Next, please. The advantages I was able to explain are the reason for this phenomenal growth story of block bottom bags in India. You see here the development of installed bag capacity in million bags per annum. It all started out in 2009 with the first Convertex going into India and going into production. That machine was able to produce 40 million bags per annum. By now, after the years that have passed and a 45% compounded average growth, we stand at 2.5 thousand million bags, 2 billion bags per annum. 2.5 billion bags, that is a great number, but still there's a lot of growth that is waiting for us, for the industry, as only a small part of the potential has been turned. Next slide, please. In the meantime, Windmoeller Hoelscher has sold over 50 machines, and those machines you see here in the development chart over the years have been installed consistently year by year. More and more machines are coming in and build the majority production base for the number of bags you have seen. The majority of the bags that are produced in India come from Convertex machines produced by Windmoeller Hoelscher. Next, please. Here you see where we see the product life cycle of woven bags. I'm sure you are aware of this product life cycle graph. It shows on the left, the introduction of a new product into the market with low sales, high cost per customer. And it is applied to innovative customers. This happened in 2009 when the first Convertex made its way into the Indian market and was a complete new innovation to the industry. From then on, growth took place with increasing sales, as I showed to you in the graph before. The cost per customer falls, the profit were rising, increased number of customers came into the market, and also more competitors came into the market. That is the normal way in a product life cycle with a growing product. And we see block bottom still in this growth area. We don't see that the potential is already used up. There is tremendous more potential, as you will see a little later on. There are other woven products in the industry. We have here big bags. Big bags we see in a majority position. There's high peak sales. It is a mass market. There's a stable number of competitors. It is a product that is well established throughout the world, and India is one of the main producers for those big bags. And then in the product life cycle, you see the decline, and here we see the stitched woven bags on the decline. It is not out of the market. It is still a majority player in the market, but it is in the decline, and the block bottom bags are taking over much of the share of the sewn bags. Next, please. I talked about what goods are packed in block bottom bags before. And I said cement is the main driver. 71%, as you see here, is packed in cement, and fertilizer, sugar, and food grain are only a small part of the cake. And this shows all bags, all woven bags, the sewn bags and the block bottom bags. And of the cement, you see only this gray piece of cake is packed in block bottom, and the majority of the cement, still 450 million tons per year, is not packed in block bottom bags. So there is a lot of potential, and a lot more potential than you can find in fertilizer and sugar, although those markets can provide an interesting growth story for specialized companies. The main focus of the main producers, however, is cement and will remain on cement. Next, please. Our vision for sustainability, green innovation. We see that PP is 100% recyclable. It is leading in sustainability. A circular economy is possible, especially because the bags are made of one single polymer family. The possibilities in future are less power usage, reducing carbon emissions, and especially less raw material. When you use less raw material, also immediately your power goes down, your usage of power goes down, and your emission of carbon dioxide goes down. Other possibilities are less waste in the production of the bags, in transport of the goods. No loss of cement into the environment is a key element which is provided by block bottom bags. And all in all, it also provides high cost savings. Next, please. The advantages of block bottom bags have been appreciated not only in India, but also in China and in Nepal. China now has introduced a new standard which will drive the industry to go away from soon PP bags and convert that part of the packaging of cement completely to block bottom. Those standards have been defined, they are in place, and China is now moving at a very strong pace to convert the packaging of cement completely from soon simple PP bags to block bottom. That is a main driver of the global industry of cement packaging, and that is leading the way for many other countries and industries. Also in Nepal, there is already a standard established, and the Bureau of Indian Standards has been working on the specifics of block bottom bags for cement packaging and for other packaging applications for many years, and now also India has a block bottom bag standard. That will help to further increase and lift this bag into an industrial standard, which will be able to modernize the packaging of cement in India even further. Next, please. As I said, a normal bag weighs around 80 grams. We have introduced to the market a block bottom bag AD Protex LS, lighter and stronger, to offer the opportunity to the market to save on material. And here you see the comparison of a standard bag of 73 to 80 grams, where the tape weight is 800 to 900 denier with a tenacity of 6 grams per denier, and we require in the process an elongation at break of 25 to 30%. R&D in this direction has led to a specification, a possible specification, which you see on the right, a bag weight that would go down to 64 grams. And as I said before, every gram of polymer that is reduced reduces energy, reduces carbon emission in the whole chain of producing polymers to converting bags, to transporting bags. Everything that is done in the process is done at reduced power consumption. Here the tape weight goes down to 750 denier, and key is that the tenacity goes up to 7 grams per denier to allow for the lighter sac to be stronger and to be able to perform as well as the standard 80-gram bag today. Next, please. What is part of the lighter and stronger technology? I talked about microperforation before, which is needed for the air to escape when cement is loaded in the block bottom bag. Here, a Windmoeller Hoelscher patent of index nanoperforation is one of the key elements of the LS technology. The index nanoperforation does stop the perforation when in the process an area comes in the perforation unit, which later is a critical edge of the bag. That makes a lot of sense because when you drop a bag, the critical edges on the corners are where the bag breaks the easiest. And by not perforating those critical edges, there's a tremendous improvement of drop failure resistance in those bags. This allows you to make the tapes thinner to reduce weight, but still you have the property that is needed to survive a bag drop as it is done in the standard testing units. 20% reduction in weight is possible, and everything that you see in weight reduction is also a multiplied carbon dioxide reduction. Next, please. Here are just some samples. What would be possible at what weight? Starting point is the 80 grams, which I have explained before. When you go down with the tape weight to 800, 750, 700 denier, the weight of the bag goes down by the indicated values. And the higher the tenacity of the tape, the higher the quality of the tape, the higher the quality of the bag, the more potential you have here. The potential needs to be discussed between the producer, the cement company, the logistic process has to be reviewed. It's not a simple do it and it works. It has to be discussed in depth between all involved parties to make it work, but together there is certainly a possibility, there is a potential. Next, please. Another potential is to make the bag even nicer. The consumer would prefer to buy a nice bag compared to a simple non-branded bag. Already the block bottom bag was allowing by prints on the patches, by prints on the bag to make the bag appeal to the end user. By using a BOPP lamination to the block bottom bag, this goes a next step further. The aesthetics get much better. You can get a glossy texture. You have even higher consistency and flatness on the bag. You get some shower-proof in nature by BOPP. And all in all, you get a high quality printing, which was not possible or is not possible to do on normal woven PP. So there are a lot of additional potential on the aesthetics of such bags. And when we look around the world, especially in South America, we see a lot of bags which are BOPP laminated in animal food, in seeds, and there the appearance of the bag is key, and the printing quality, the lamination quality is of extreme importance to the acceptance of the bags. So I think there is a lot of possibility for and in the Indian market to develop further in this direction. Next, please. For those of you who are not in the woven industry already, a short overview how the process goes from a PP granule to a completed bag. First, there are tape lines which extrude tapes. Those tubes are wound by precision winding machines, and those wound up tapes are then inserted into a circular weaving loom, which creates a tube, a woven tube. On the next page, you will see the next steps. The next step is coating the material with a PP LDPE cover. This cover is then later used for the hot air sealing of the patches and is used in the Convertex to make a completed sack. In a printing machine, you can apply your logos, you can apply information for the end user, you can apply all the information that you feel important for marketing. And once the tube is printed, coated and printed, it is brought to the Convertex machine, the Convertex, which then converts in one step from the roll of tubular fabric into a bag. Next, please. There's also another way to make bags if you go from flat fabric. So far, I have spoken about tubular fabric as a starting point. when you have flat fabric, there's a possibility to apply even more than a BOPP layer. You can apply several layers of material and tailor your product even more. You can do designs according to your customer requirements. You can 1 or 2 ply configuration. You can use this for valve bags, for pinch bags, for gusseted bags. And you can combine woven PP, laminates, paper, PE film. The possibilities of combination are basically endless. And there's always a possibility to come and visit Windmoeller Hoelscher and see how such application works and how it helps into getting into the pinch bag area, which Mr. Peter Bäumer will focus on in detail after my speech. And you see here the link from one technology to the other, and that is the tubing of several material layers. So when we go to the next slide, you see a step back in history. This is 2009, when the first cement was packed in AD Protex bags. 2009 was the first time when the Convertex was operating in India. It's the first time when cement packaging like this was advertised on a bus. This is 2009 Kolkata. And with this view back in history, I would like to close my speech. Thank you very much for attending. I would like to thank VDMA again for making this webinar possible. And I wish you all good health and much success in your business. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Eder. That was an excellent presentation demonstrating the entire comparison. I mean, there was a very interesting slide on how valuable the block bottom bags of 𝐼PROTEX of Windmoeller and Hoelscher is to the Indian market, and also explaining the entire process of technology and the benefits that the consumer gets on buying these bags. Thank you, wonderful. I'm sure our participants really absorbed a lot of your knowledge on this. Dear friends, now let's welcome our next, I would like to invite our next speaker today, Mr. Jan Peter Bäumer, Managing Partner at B&B Verpackungstechnik GmbH, for his presentation on next generation innovation in bulk material packaging. Please, Mr. Bäumer.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you also to Mr. Nath, Rakesha, and you, Mr. Manohar, for the kind introduction. Next slide, please. Yeah, welcome everyone to my part of today's webinar, and welcome to the world of perfect packaging. First of all, allow me to give you some quick insights in who B&B is and what we do. Our company roots go back to the late 1970s, when B&B was founded. We've seen a steady growth over the years, while the company was focusing on the packaging industry. Our business is divided into 2 units. One is end-of-line packaging machinery for different kinds of products like cosmetics, food, non-food, pet food, tissue products, or industrial goods, no matter if you want your products to be packaged in film, case, or craft paper. The second business unit focuses on bag and pouch machines. This means, for example, side-gusseted plastic bag machines for pet food or bulk materials, standard pouch machines for spouted pouches used for different kinds of beverages and dairy products, and woven pinch bag machines. Next slide, please. B&B has 2 facilities. The headquarters is located in the town of Hopsten, Germany, which is about a 30-minute drive from the W&H headquarters in Lengerich. Here in Hopsten, the machines are manufactured. All departments are located in-house. The second location is our subsidiary in Green Bay, Wisconsin, USA. From here, we provide sales and service to our customers in North America. In India, as well as in many other countries across Asia, we are working very close with W&H, especially on the service side. Next slide, please. Let me start with my part of today's webinar. The subject is next generation innovation in bulk material packaging. As of now, there are multiple ways of how to pack your products in WPP bags and sacks. The majority of bags are sewn, which brings a lot of challenges with it. To succeed these challenges, the woven pinch bag is a very clever solution. Next slide, please. Let me first explain what a pinch bag is. The principle is basically the same like on multi-wall paper pinch bags, as they were the inspirational model for this development. In many cases, your packaging is selling your product. Pinch bags have a 5th and 6th panel for printing and advertising, so that your product can be seen from the customer in the supermarket, no matter how it is positioned in the shelves. As you can see on the picture in the middle, the pinch bag has a step cut pattern, which enables the bag to be of a superior strength and tightness once closed. This step cut pattern can be either closed with pre-applied hot melt or hot air. I'll come to the advantages and disadvantages in a little bit. Next slide, please. The shelf life of today's woven bags is limited due to leakiness. By using woven pinch bags, the shelf life can be massively increased. Next slide, please. Moreover, woven pinch bags are offering more protection as they withstand wet conditions. Next slide, please. As Mr. Heder already explained, woven bags and especially woven pinch bags can be used for multiple different kinds of packagings, such as rice, or in general food, pet food, seeds or chemicals, just to name a few. Next slide, please. To produce a woven pinch bag, first of all, you need the right equipment to produce the woven material itself. Tape extrusion, winding, weaving, as well as coating equipment is necessary, and W&H will be very enthusiastic to discuss the details with you, I'm sure. The converting equipment is manufactured by B&B, and on the next slides, I'll give you some insights. Next slide, please. For today's woven pinch bag machine, we are using more than 10 years of experience coming from more than 25 delivered machine installations all over the world. We are using an inline production process, working from one flat film roll. In the first part of the machine, the perforation of the web, the tube forming, and the bag separation are done. The second part of the machine goes all the way to the stacking conveyor. The pinch is being closed in this part using hot air technology. A B&B robot packaging can be integrated behind the stacking conveyor so that the bags can be packed into cases right away. The automation of the bag production gets more and more important. Customers demand a reduction of operators and packers needed for the machine operation. Thus, B&B machines are equipped with an automatic format change system with motorized adjustments. Using this system, recipes can be saved so that positions of the different machine modules can be recalled for future productions automatically. B&B machines have the right flexibility for adding customer or brand-specific features to the bags, like, for example, ventilation holes, easy opening perforations, or specific bag geometries. Recently, we have developed an integrated inline quality control, but I'll come to that on one of the next slides. Next slide, please. Key point in the production of woven pinch bags is the perforation for the step cut pattern. First machines on the market used a laser for the step cut perforation. A laser has the benefit that it can be set up quickly for new programs. B&B has a very long and extensive experience in developing and manufacturing rotary die cutters for various applications in converting machines. Consequently, a laser is for us not the right medium to do this perforation. The disadvantages of a laser are too comprehensive. A laser, for example, applies always the same power to the web. Varying power is needed to separate the perforation with web thickness variations. A laser can lead to web breaks in the machine, as well as to problems in the separation of the bag from the tube. And the costs for a laser are initially very high, same as the maintenance cost. Using a rotary die cutter instead has a lot of benefits and advantages. The most important point is that the perforation quality is not depending on the WPP thickness and homogeneity. As a result, there is no variation of the tear-off force. The B&B die cutter is working with a very high precision. The true running accuracy is less than 5 micrometers. The price is considerably lower than for a laser, same as the maintenance cost. The lifetime of the cutting blades can be up to 3 million cuts, depending on the WPP structure and its composition. Next slide, please. Like I mentioned before, pinch bags can be either closed by hot melt or hot air. Hot melt can be applied on the customer side and plant side of the bag. The plant side is directly closed during the application. The appearance of the step cut area is good. But from our point of view, it has certain disadvantages. First of all, you have to deal with glue. Different glues are needed in changing climate conditions. In worst case, filled bags can open depending on hot or cold environments. Glue is an additional material involved in the production of the bag, which creates a mess in the machine. Frequent cleaning needs to be taken into account. During transportation, empty bags can stick together on the open and closed side. Hot weather, glue might start melting. Next slide, please. Therefore, we've been working on alternatives during the last 10 years. Our favorite and today's standard in our equipment is the hot air technology. The benefits are obvious. Hot air sealing results in superior strength and perfect appearance of the bags. Your production does not need to plan downtime for cleaning purposes. And you're independent from changing climate conditions. You don't run into any risks, no matter if you're shipping empty or filled bags. Next slide, please. As mentioned before, customers are frequently asking for an automated packaging at the end of the machines. For this, we are using a customized robot cell. Nevertheless, the customer needs to ensure that the bags which should be packed by a robot are of the right quality. Otherwise, an automatic packaging system is useless. For this, we have developed quality inspection systems. Depending on what the customer would like to detect, We are using camera systems to check, for example, the geometry or the print position of the bags. In addition, the length of the bag as well as the quality of the bag seam can be controlled. Again, the bag needs to be produced perfectly. Otherwise, additional automatization makes no sense. Next slide, please. Another thing customers are asking for on a regular basis is how to diversify from others. One possibility is to make your WPP pinch bag reclosable by using a slider system. With a slider, you can open and reclose your packaging as often as needed. Next slide, please. To apply a slider to a woven pinch bag, dedicated equipment is necessary. You can either work offline with a single bag destacker or with tube unwinding and bag separation, or fully inline. In any case, a slider application part is needed, which glues the slider segment itself to the bag. All concepts are possible with flush cut or step cut for the customer side. As of today, Presto and Uflex are both offering slider systems to everyone. The hardware for the slider application is manufactured by B&B. Next slide, please. Over the years, we've put a lot of work into the development of woven pinch bag machines. At one point, our customers were facing a problem in regard to closing and sealing the filled pinch bags properly. Filling equipment and existing sealers were not able to achieve a consistent closing result. Why that? Problems lay in the imprecise feeding of the bags to the closing unit. Only sewing or double folded bottom were available as closing alternatives, coming along with several disadvantages like low performance, no tight bags, or material waste in case of double roll bottom. B&B has developed sealers, including aligners, which work for fabric, paper, and plastic, and this at speeds of more than 65 cycles a minute. The key is the accuracy of the alignment unit. With this, you can ensure 100% straight aligned, precisely closed bags. It is possible today to place such a hot air sealer right behind a filling machine. Manohar, please show the video. Thank you. Next slide, please. Not every customer needs a sealer which is equipped for all possibilities. In consequence, B&B has developed an entry-level version only for woven pinch bags, which is suitable, for example, for semi-automatic filling lines. Next slide, please. To summarize the benefits of pinch bags once again, using hot air sealing technology will lead to no more sewing, no more gluing. You have minimum or zero spillage. After closure of the bag by using hot air sealing technology, spillage is nearly impossible. This is important for the product safety during the supply chain. It is cleaner, safer, and easier to work with. An optimal palletization is possible due to perfect shape. And when we are talking about shapes. This is also something which makes the woven pinch bag very attractive, the shape itself. Another big advantage, no counterfeiting. The bag is produced using advanced technology equipment, and thus it is difficult to replicate without such equipment. This will help your brands to fight against duplicity. And as the bag consists of PP, it is fully recyclable, and so it is environmentally friendly. Next slide, please. What is the B&B idea about the future of WPP pinch bags? As of today, woven pinch bags are produced from flat film. But not everybody is able to make flat WPP structures and wind them on a core in a flat way. Therefore, our additional future concept will be able to produce woven pinch bags from fabric tubes. Several tests have already demonstrated that it is possible to produce the bags in this innovative new way. Our goal is to establish a true alternative for soon WPP bags. Next slide, please. This picture shows a side-gusset pinch sack, which was produced from tubular material. The sack is so strong that it has passed all drop tests successfully. Next slide, please. Another idea is to produce a woven step-cut pillow sack without any side gussets. Again, all sealings have been done through means of hot air. Maybe this would be the cheapest woven sack possible to produce. This is the last slide of my presentation. I hope that it has been interesting for you. For more information or videos, please contact us. We'll be happy to show these to you during a personal meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Baumer, for a very interesting presentation on the manufacturing process of pinch bags with your wide experience of B&B across 25 installations in the world. So I'm sure our participants are very able to absorb this interesting knowledge on manufacturing of pinch bags. Dear friends, before we, I'm sure you have, after these two presentations, you have a lot of questions. I request you to post your questions on your question section so that we would ask this after in the later and in a couple of minutes later. So before we move forward, I would like to welcome, introduce Mr. Saini across. He will give you an insight on the next video that we would be playing, which gives testimonial of W&H installations and their feedback from their customers. Mr. Saini, over to you across.
Thank you so much, Mr. Manohar, and I would like to thank VDMA team for organizing this session, and I would like to thank all the audience for their valued time. I mean, we saw in the two presentations that about the two solutions. We heard that the AD Protex bags have already seen tremendous success in the Indian market, and it fits extremely well to the existing supply chain, offering multiple benefits. The pinch bottom bags, which were introduced to the Indian market at a later stage, have already found initial success as well, with the first installations running very successfully. We try to answer several questions that we get from the market regularly. Some of these questions which have already been answered, but I would mention them again. A lot of people ask us, what is the future of these two solutions in the Indian and the global markets? How are these solutions fitting to the sustainability requirements? We have already shared the inputs, but then what we did, we also went to our customers and we asked them these questions and asked them to share their perspective. Our customers have set up state-of-the-art manufacturing facilities to provide end users with the mentioned solutions. They have also worked tirelessly to keep the supply chains efficient and active, while supporting the end user industry very regularly. I think they would be the best to answer these questions and also share their journey with us. We are pleased to share the inputs in this short video, which I believe would be very, very interesting for all the people present in this webinar. I would request Mr. Manohar to Play the video, please. Thank you.
My name is 𝐺𝐵𝐺𝐿. I am the joint president of the packaging business, working with 𝐈𝐴𝐻 for the last 27 years.
Hi, I'm Aditya Shah from Crescent Organics Private Limited.
We have come a long way with the support of our customers and vendors as well.
My name is Prakash Khemani from Suraj Logistics Private Limited. We partnered with Windmoeller Hoelscher for block bottom bags, and we are proud to be a partner with Windmoeller.
Bright morning, my dear friends. Abhinav Bansal here, Director of 𝐴𝐾 Group. Welcome you all in today's session.
I think block bottom bags is one of the best development that has happened to the cement packaging industry. It has a lot of benefits when we compare it to the conventional stitched bags. So it is beneficial for the entire supply chain. By using these bags, they have reduced cement dust pollution in the air to almost by 50%.
And slowly but steadily the demand for block bottom bags is increasing as the consumers start to realize the benefit of the product. From cement industry point of view, they get the benefit of faster packing, easier automation and better brandability. And from an end user point of view, they get the benefit of better stackability, zero pilferage amongst others. So it is a win-win situation, and as more and more consumers realize these benefits compared to old school products, the market for block bottom bags will only grow further.
You know, the primary reason of us moving into block bottom bags was that the consumer of cement felt that the cement packed in block bottom bags is premium cement. They were ready to pay more for it. There is a major problem of fugitive dust at the packer floor in the cement industry. The block bottom bags was a solution to it. There is a lot of scope for increasing the volume of block bottom bags in India.
Well, block bottom bags is one of the most prominent packaging solutions. The government in this year's budget has relaxed infrastructure industry's business, leading to a high demand for cement bags and block bottom bags.
So let me begin with the block bottom for the cement bags. Traditionally, not only in India but globally also, cement was never branded. The cement was something which the retailer would ask his loading boy to load some bags of cement if there is a requirement. There was no branding as such. So we were the first companies which realized that branding is possible, and we were the first ones to start making block bottom bags from a flat sheet. Normally people make it from the tube. We are happy about that. As far as the pinch bottom is concerned, all the largely pinch bottom bags are used in the rice segment, and rice segment traditionally used stitched bags. A lot of anti-counterfeiting happened. I remember the days when my wife would sell a rice bag, empty rice bag, to the rack picker for a handsome value. So I was always wondering, why is she getting so better a value? Then I realized the rack picker is selling it to the spurious manufacturers of rice and using the same bag. That triggered that we must do something in woven bag segment to make the bags anti-counterfeiting, and pinch bottom is the best way to make the bag anti-counterfeitable, because the bag has to be torn open. Actually, if you see, pinch bottom bags compete very well with the stitch bag. I'm seeing a very bright future of the block bottom bags, laminated block bottom bags in the cement industry. Both the pinch bottom as well as the block bottom bags have all their ingredients as polypropylene, so it is 100% recyclable. On sustainability front, it scores very heavily compared to other formats for the cement and other industry.
One thing I would like to add, the cyclo-perforation part, which is the best innovation in the recent times.
The speed of the machine is very high, and the best part is that the high speed is not even felt. By using this machine, the work efficiency and plant output has increased. The quality of machine is excellent and the output product quality is much better than the similar products available in the market. Service from Windmoeller and Hoelscher is also very satisfactory and understands issues very correctly.
We see Windmoeller Hoelscher as our lifelong partner. We look upon them as our big brother. So yes, we are very positive and we hold a very good relation.
Yeah, so we have a history. Whenever we introduce a new technology, we always go for the best equipments, and both these companies are best in the business.
We bought our first line from WNH in 2011. Plant is in Baroda, India. We have had a terrific experience with the WNH team both in India and in Europe. The quality and productivity of their machinery is second to none. As for the end product, this is the future of all packaging for cement industry in India. Like I said, WNH has been terrific in terms of both product and the personnel that we have dealt with. And any further expansion for our packaging business, we would count on WNH as our machinery partner.
Our service experience with Windmoeller and Hoelscher is fantastic and always up to the mark. Whenever we face any issues at our plant, Windmoeller and Hoelscher is there to sort it out within the stipulated time frame. As a company, Windmoeller and Hoelscher are our time-tested OEM provider, and they provide quick resolution to the issues if any arises in our plant. Their research team is up to date with the market requirement and timely support is provided to us. With Windmoeller and Hoelscher, we see that we can grow together for longer periods of time.
Well, a lot of people ask me, why did you choose Windmoeller and Hoelscher as your partner for supply of machinery? I think I took the right decision. We placed an order for 8 lines of converters at one go. And trust me, even during these pandemic times, Windmoeller supplied the equipment in time. Whenever we faced the problem of breakdown, we called them up and the response was excellent. I can vouch for the service of Windmoeller. And well, with someone who gives you world-class service along with world-class equipment, can you think of anybody else? Windmoeller is surely my lifetime partner for supply of machinery for block bottom bags.
So we had interesting insights from most of the customers across, giving lauding Windmoeller and Hoelscher for their amazing customer service and their excellent products that they've utilized at their factories across. I'm sure Windmoeller and Hoelscher would be able to take this forward and grow in India their businesses in their respective segments, whether it's cement, fertilizers, food, or wherever it is across. So Anuj, do you want to comment anything before we move on to the question and answers?
No, we would like to thank all our customers for giving their valuable insights, which would be very helpful for the end users, for the industry. And I would request Mr. Manohar to take over now. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Anuj. So we will now this good questions. Yeah. I think we have Mr. Pankaj Shah. Is it you? Yeah, we have Mr. Pankaj Shah. So let's move, complete the question and answers. Probably then we can get him on line across. I think there's some blabbering. The line is not very clear. So the first question I would like to ask Mr. Eder across. What is the demand and growth scenario of the block bottom bags around the globe, and if you can, in India? Unmute yourself, please.
Yeah, thank you. As I pointed out already, India has seen tremendous growth already over the last years. Mr. Rakesh Shah has pointed out the growth in cement, and we believe this growth in cement will continue. And also the share of block bottom bags in the cement packaging will grow also. So both those drivers will come to a consumption increase. And we believe that the growth of the last decades will continue in the future. And I pointed out already that in China there's a new regulation which will do away with the Thun bags. And I wanted to give a little bit of background on that. It started out with air pollution. That was highlighted also in the video that we just saw. Air pollution was a main problem in China, and cement dust was identified as one of the main contributors to the air pollution. And that was the start and the driving point for fading out woven soon bags and converting the complete supply chain on block bottom. And I think India is on this way already, not with a strong regulation as in China, but the market dynamics are going the same way. And in the end, I do not believe that there will be any soon bags left in the cement packaging industry.
Yeah, I'm sure with that regulation, there will be more number of machines in demand from the Indian manufacturers for your products across. I'm sure about that. Coming across to Mr. Baumer for you, you have explained about the pinch bottom bags and the sliders. Now, would it be which are the is it more applicable to any particular sector like food or any other sector where it can be extensively used?
Well, basically, this is not something for every sector. That's clear. The slider, the reclosability generates an additional added value to the packaging. So you need a product which is usually of a higher value. So if it's special kinds of rice or pet food, this makes sense to incorporate a slider in the packaging, but for sure not for a package that you just open once and empty right away.
Okay, all right. Coming to you, Mr. Rakesh Cross, you have been a veteran in this industry, Cross, and I'm sure you have seen the industry grow from the initial stage, as you mentioned, from the woven bags to the PP bags and going forward. Where do you see this industry trending in the near future, at least to the near term across in the next 1 or 2 years or maximum 3 years? You're mute, kindly mute, please.
I would start with saying that, as pointed out earlier also by Mr. Ed and Mr. Baumer, this and also by Mr. Pillai, this is a completely recyclable material. So therefore, it is very environment friendly, and therefore it will experience minimum pressure from the pressure groups which are working towards, plastic elimination and things like that. So this is already a very promising prospect. The second thing which is very important, which I did not mention earlier, but I'd like to do it now, that PP woven sacks are arguably weight to weight the strongest available packaging. The stretch tape is stronger than steel wires weight to weight. So it's a very strong packaging, and therefore it is therefore automatically becomes a choice for applications like cement and wherever a lot of handling and logistics are involved. Therefore, even they can withstand a lot of let's say rough logistic conditions, and therefore will remain a choice. Third, which was already pointed out, they are practically pilfer proof, and adulteration is nearly impossible. They are tamper evident, if not tamper proof. So therefore, I think the market will grow for that reason also. The fourth is, as I mentioned earlier, that we can never turn the clock back, and the technologies have proven themselves. And not only that, the technologies have proven themselves in the past, but they continue to prove themselves, and they are getting improved day by day. And as Mr. Head already pointed out, going down to weight of 64 grams or something like that, and maybe even lower in the future, is a very extremely promising and very attractive prospect. And therefore, I see that in the times to come, as rightly mentioned, the woven sacks will be a thing of the past, just as the jute bags have become a thing of the past, because those products will get become obsolete, will no longer be seen as efficient, and what we see as low price, the advantage will be lost. As Mr. Head also pointed out, that as the marketing curve grows and the per bag cost goes down, more competitors come up and so on. And the cement losses which happen from sewn bags and things like that will be obviously sufficient reason to drive them out. On the side of pinch bags, pinch bottom bags, I could say that you would already see that they are making big inroads into the retail sector. So you will find more and more these bags into retail sector. And India, you see, retail in India is actually really exploding. It's expanding at a fantastic rate. And it's not as if a lot of people think that India lives in villages, and in the rural markets, it's not anything like we see in the cities. The truth is that the rural markets are comprised of a very highly aspirational and fairly rich farmer class. And because they're so aspirational, because if you see, for example, that a huge number of Mercedes cars are sold in the villages of Punjab and Gujarat. And one would wonder why. Because they are aspirational, because they have money to spare. And therefore, I think increasingly, for example, Mr. Boyambar mentioned about the high value rice or something like that, but you will see that a large number, and that's why I particularly mentioned rice, a large number of rice brands are already in different woven, which are laminated, PP laminated, nicely printed with excellent graphics, that kind of bags, or they are now will be moving gradually into pinch bottom bags also. So, and then pet foods are becoming a big craze because when we had dogs, when I was a kid, we had dogs in the house, but we never had anything like pet food. I mean, they were eating what we were eating, and that's all. But today, people want to offer their dogs or their kitten or their, felines or things like that, much better food. And this is all industry which is growing, and this is all futuristic. And therefore, I see a huge market, tremendous potential, and people who are entering this business now are bound to make good money. They should be happy.
Okay. Right. Mr. Anuj, for you, somebody is asking application across, and he's mentioning that block bottom or pinch bottom for animal feed applications. And he's mentioning the weight too is 50 kg or 70 kgs, which is suitable.
So you see, when we talk animal feed, we are now talking very different bulk densities from cement. The sizes might have to be checked, so we will really have to see what fits. 50 kg fits or 70 kg fits, or maybe we'll have to go to a 25 kg solution. And we would also need to look at what filling systems would suit well. But I believe from the look of it, pinch bottom bags might be a very interesting solution for animal feed section. But if you really look at the block bottom bag dynamics today, the end use segment cement is so big and it's growing so fast. Even though many applications are possible, most of our customers are extremely busy catering only to cement. So I believe both the applications can be used, but it eventually will have to be tailored to what the end user is also demanding.
Okay, all right. I think we will share with you probably you can answer in more detail to the person connected across. My next question would be to Mr. Haider. Mr. Haider, which is the fastest bag making machine available for block bottom bags? And what is the capacity like maximum capacity?
Yeah, the Convertex models started out with 60 bags per minute. Today, our Convertex CL140 is the fastest machine available in the market. The machine is designed to run efficiently at 140 bags per minute. And we're happy that several 140s are running very successfully in the Indian market. The 140 is a very stable machine, even at these high speeds. And this is also due to that the mechanical design of the machine has been taken from our paper sack machines. And some in the audience might have had experience with those paper sack machines. They run up to 360 bags per minute. That's not what we can do on woven bags, but the mechanical parts that are key to the machine are taken from paper machines that run at 360.
Okay. Okay. There is another question across. Probably Mr. Goma can take this. I would like to ask, the person says, you would like to know the present or upcoming market of oven pinch bag of Africa, especially the eastern side of Africa. Is there any answer to that?
So far, we have not delivered any machinery to Africa, but this does not mean that our customers might ship woven pinch bags to Africa. So this could be for sure possible.
All right. Okay. I would like to ask probably the last question for the day. Probably other questions will pass it on across, and probably the team can respond to them directly. Mr. Head, a question to you, if possible. This question is for reverse printing, BOPP plus PP, one application for startups, especially in small markets like Botswana. What is your suggestion of what is your advice on market penetration and dealing with the big players in the market? Is there any thoughts?
Can you repeat the application? I understood BOPP, printed film, yes?
Okay. What it means is, does the Windmoeller as a solution for reverse printing, BOPP plus PP, one application? Let me put it that.
Yes, the reverse printed BOPP is a good solution, and it requires a coating machine, which in best case has a coax extrusion unit, and there a special care has to be taken to the adhesive material. You extrude a layer of coating, and then you have to also extrude a tie material, so that the coated printed BOPP adheses well, is bond well to the woven PP.
True. So there are more questions.
I would like to,
yeah,
go ahead. Add a little.
Go ahead.
You see, we foresee very big growth in the reverse printed BOPP laminated woven sack market. As you would have seen in the video already, Mr. Pillai also mentioned branding of bulk material packaging. And we see that there's a lot of work which can be done in that direction. The biggest advantage of a BOPP, reverse printed BOPP laminated bag, is the print quality. You see, the woven surface is not very flat or very plain. So the kind of resolution that you can achieve on a BOPP film, which is very flat and which has very good surface, is very high. You can really do very high quality photographic prints on a BOPP film. And when it's laminated to woven sacks, you can also achieve very high strength. So these are the benefits which will help the growth of these solutions more and more. As far as WNH is considered, we are providing solutions to print this film. We have very high speed rotogravure presses up to 600 meters per minute. We have, as Mr. Haider mentioned, we have the coating lines also available, and we have in pinch and in block bottom also the converting technology available to make these bags. If the gentleman has a specific application, we'll be very happy to discuss this one-on-one.
We will be sharing with you the details, so probably you can independently write to them and take it forward. We'll leave it to you across. Mr. Punk,
we have one small suggestion. It's about the zip lock of these pinch bottom bags. There's an application in India which is white cement used widely in homes and comes in very small bags, about 1 kilo, 2 kilo, 5 kilogram packings. And I think because they don't get spent at one time, I mean, I keep also in my house some always. So, and I think a lot of people do. This could be a very nice application. And people who are looking at these machines could also explore this market to sell them.
Okay, we are Mr. Pankaj Shah. Mr. Pankaj Shah, can you unmute yourself because he cannot come on camera? If you can just say 1 or 2, 1 minute or 1.5 minute of few words across since he's being present. Okay, Mr. Shah, can you unmute yourself and address for a minute or 2?
Yeah. Can you know? Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible. Correct.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay, so good afternoon to everybody. Mr. Rajesh Nath of VDMA, Mr. Walter Header, Mr. John Peter, Mr. Anuj Sani. We are very much happy and glad that we have given the IPI the opportunity to be the part of this seminar. And I would really like to thank you all. Very lucrative presentations have been made by all the speakers, learned speakers, and we have learned the advancement in this bulk packaging material in detail and latest technology which you have shared with us. Now, taking the opportunity, I would like to give some details on the Indian Plastic Institute. The Indian Plastic Institute is the professional body of professionals, academics, students established to pursue the following objectives. We are engaged in advance and develop for the benefit of its member and the public the arts, science, technology, and engineering of the plastics. Form and organize a strong professional body of those connected or concerned with the plastics. This institute supervise, advise upon, and advance the standards and methods of education and training at all levels in the field of plastics. Project vital contribution of plastics and various fields of economy. Indian Plastic Institute is established as a registered as society in 1985 in Mumbai under the public trust, and it is also successor to the Plastics and Rubber Institute London. We have 15 chapters on pan-India basis, and we conduct lot of seminars, lecture meetings, conferences, and so on. I would not like to take much time because of paucity of the time, but I would definitely like to request the delegates who are present here to become a member of this wonderful organization, which is engaged in education and sharing the technology, latest technology with the members of the IPI. Once again, I thank you all to giving this opportunity to IPI to be the part of this webinar today. And special thanks to Rakesh Bhai that you have been able to organize this with IPI. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Pankaj Shah, Chairman, Indian Plastics Institutes, for his closing remarks on this web seminar. It's insightful, and I'm sure a lot of people would be interested to be members of your institute to learn more about this growing technology across. Dear friends, I think we have crossed beyond time, and it's been a very long webinar. It's close to 2 hours, and I would like to thank Mr. Rakesh Shah, Mr. Pankaj Shah from the Indian Plastics Institute, Mr. Walter Header, Managing Director, Owen Machinery at Windmoeller and Hoelscher, Germany, for his wonderful presentation on the upcoming technology, which would be very useful for the Indian manufacturers for growing the businesses. Mr. Baumer for talking from BNB Germany for talking about the pinch technology. I'm sure a lot of people have learned about this new technology that could be applicable in the packaging machinery in India. And also Mr. Anuj Sani, and supporting VDMA, Mr. Anuj Sani and his team, sales and marketing, Windmoeller and Hoelscher India, to explaining on the customers' insights of using these machines to the participants who have gained a lot of how to benefit out of it. So, and also to my colleague, Mr. Rajesh Nath, who gave the initial talk. And I would like to thank also my colleague, Mr. Saket Maladi, who was able to put across this for the last couple of weeks. And most importantly, dear friends, it is you who have made this. We have such large presence today, close to 200 people, I'm sure. There's such large presence in our webinars today when things have already started functioning is really commendable. So I thank you all for being present today and wish you all the best. Please be safe, stay healthy, and stay connected. Wishing you and thanking all the speakers all the best across. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you all. Thank you very much.